And let me start with you, Ms. Simon. The 2014 Title IX investigation at MSU. My understanding is that the adjudication of that case was that there was no finding of abuse. Microphone, please.
I apologize. That is my understanding as well.
And what was that the nature of the investigation, was about sexual abuse?
It was about a medical procedure conducted by Dr. Nasser that the person believed was invasive and abusive.
And what was the explanation for the finding of no abuse?
That there were medical experts who looked at the procedure, which was not defined at that time at penetration, but a different legitimate, what they viewed to be a legitimate medical procedure. That the experts believed that it fit the condition being presented, and that was the basis, as I understand it, after reviewing the report in 2016 for the judgment. And
the investigation would be conducted by an MSU investigator, an employee?
It was done by the then I3/Title IX office, as any other complaint would have been under Title IX.
And that, just for the record, and I want to make sure what I think you're telling me is that person is an employee of the university.
The employee is a person under the procedures. We have responsibility to investigate reports that come to us. That individual is an employee of Michigan State under an office designed to investigate complaints at that point, and they conducted that investigation.
My records indicate a date of July 1st, 2014, that investigation. I don't know whether it began or ended. How long was, when did the investigation begin and when did it end? How long did it take?
I believe, but I don't I'm going to apologize for not having that information in front of me. I believe it began sometime late April, May, and concluded in that period that you're talking about.
Concluded then in July.
That's my understanding, but I may be off in my dates.
Is the next time that MSU had a complaint filed in regard to Dr. Nasser was when the complaint was filed by Rachel Denhollander with the MSU police?
That is my understanding.
And did you say that investigation is still continuing? That one was resolved.
Let me try to be clearer. That complaint came in, I believe, near the end of August.
August the 29th, 2016 is what I think.
Right. Dr. Nasser went to the police. Dr. Nasser was then interviewed, and within 2 days he was suspended by then Dean Strample, and we began to unravel what we knew about that situation in October. And so that investigation then was turned over because more complainants came forward, which was, from my perspective, terrific if that abuse occurred. And those were investigated by the MSU police under the auspices of the Attorney General of the state of Michigan, coordinated because they became a staff for the Attorney General. In addition, we learned of the FBI investigation and cooperated fully with that with the U.S. Attorney. So we had an ongoing investigation through MSU Police and the Michigan Attorney General, and an ongoing criminal investigation through the U.S. Attorney and the FBI. If I recall correctly, and my dates may be off by a bit, he was eventually charged a while later, and the criminal proceedings concluded for the sentencing for Dr. Nasser in January of 2018, and the sentencing for the U.S. Attorney pornography charge was sometime in the fall.
You've led me where I wanted to go, which is, have you or anyone you know been interviewed in this case involving Dr. Nasser by the FBI?
I was not interviewed by the FBI, and I understand that there are MSU individuals who were interviewed.
What, can you tell me who they are? What
I'm not
positions
sure.
they occupied?
I think they were, I do not personally have that list of names. I'm sure we could get that for you, because I believe the FBI report was publicly available.
I'd welcome that assistance.
Okay, so I'm not in the position to do that, but we'll hope that that could be provided through the university.
You, Ms. Fain, were you or anyone you know interviewed by the FBI?
I was not interviewed by the FBI, and the only information that I have was that I was supposed to pick up an athlete to speak with the FBI the next day, of which that was canceled for what reason I don't know.
Anyone you know at USA Gymnastics, other than this one individual gymnast that was, that the interview never occurred, at least to your knowledge never occurred? Anyone at USA Gymnastics that you know of that was interviewed by the FBI?
No, sir.
Do you know the name Fran Sepler?
I do now, but I did not know.
Do you know, then you would not know why she was hired
No, sir.
or who hired her?
No, I do not know.
Let me continue a moment longer, or a few moments longer with you, Dr. Simon. According to a report generated by the Michigan House of Representatives on April the 5th, 2018, Michigan State provided two materially different versions of its Title IX report to the individual who filed the Title IX report complaint and Dr. Nasser. So, according to the House of Representatives, your state's House of Representatives examination and their report, they indicate that on the conclusion of that investigation by your Title IX examiner, two different documents were provided, one to the person making the allegation and a different report to Dr. Nasser. Do you know that?
I learned that in 2016.
And do you know why?
One of the, as it has been explained to me, so let me be clear about that. The effort was to include in the report to the responsible administrator ways in which their processes and procedures could be improved, even though the decision that was made was no finding.
Let me ask unanimous consent that the Michigan House of Representatives report be included in the record without objection. It is entered. The Michigan House of Representatives noted in their report that the version provided to Nasser included the potential need for corrective action, as I think you just indicated, and, quote, this discrepancy demonstrates an office culture more focused on protecting the institution than survivors. Do you have a response to that finding?
My understanding of the reason for that was that we would take every opportunity to improve the quality of the work being done by the individual, and to do that in a way that made the responsible administrator and the individual responsible for following through on those actions.
This investigation that occurred in 2015, did you or anybody under your supervision speak with USAG about Dr. Nasser being under that investigation?
I did not, and to my knowledge, I know of no one else who did, representing the university.
During the time that you were president of Michigan State University, Dr. Nasser was employed by the institution as a university physician, and that employment continued until 2016. Is that correct?
Yes, near September.
Throughout our investigation, our staff and this subcommittee's work, it's a surprising finding to me that there's a lack of consistent record keeping for medical and billing information. Beyond the reports that indicate you were made aware of sexual misconduct allegations brought against Nasser, was there ever a red flag raised about the fact that the university physician was providing so-called medical treatment to hundreds of underage athletes without adequate billing for those services that the university's sports medicine department would track? Let me see if I can paraphrase that in a more direct way. Odd to me that you have a university physician who is treating patients, and yet there is little or no medical records or billing information associated with that treatment.
Senator, the treatments that were done under the auspices of Michigan State University's Sports Medicine Clinic have medical records, to my understanding, and were billed accordingly. I think has been noted earlier, Dr. Nasser was viewed as a volunteer for USA Gymnastics. And in that volunteer role, we believed that he was under the direction of USA Gymnastics for whatever his provision of medical care, and that the records for those individuals which he treated were under the auspices of USA Gymnastics.
Would he see patients that were under the auspices of the UA Gymnastics at his clinic, at his facilities on the Michigan State campus?
Patients were referred to him at his clinic, our clinic on the Michigan State University campus, which is why we are part of the responsible for his care. In listening to Ms. Weaver's testimony before your committee, she made a comment that she went into the back door of the clinic, if you'll recall that comment. So had I been currently president, I flagged that in listening to it. So I don't know about the records that would go with a visit like that. I mean, but for our clinic, there are records related to people who scheduled appointments and have medical records.
So a student, Dr. Nasser would see what patients would he see associated with Michigan State University unrelated to his USAG responsibilities?
Well, Dr. Nasser has a clinic in sports medicine. He would see patients from wherever they came from who scheduled an appointment with him. In addition, sports medicine is a contractor with our athletic department to provide medical services to the athletic department. Under that responsibility, there are medical records retained for our student athletes. If he saw them in the clinic, they would be in the clinical record. If they're part of our record keeping for student athletes, they are also part of the university's records and retained.
And would there be billing records? Would the athlete that's being the Michigan State University athlete who is seen by Dr. Nasser, is there a billing record that is associated with that visit?
We provide free service through Dr. Nasser Sports Medicine to our student athletes, but there would be a medical record, but not necessarily a billing record.
And a patient who saw Dr. Nasser unassociated with your athletic department and unassociated with USAG, would the university bill that patient's visit?
If a person came to the clinic as a scheduled appointment, whether they were associated with USAG or not associated with USAG, but came as a scheduled appointment to the clinic, those medical records are all the same from our perspective.
But let me ask the question again about billing records. There'd be a bill associated with that visit?
I can answer to you that there should have been. That's one of the issues that was under review as we've tried to think through all of these issues.
The nature of this questioning is that we can't find billing records for patients that were seen at a clinic on your campus associated with visits to Dr. Nasser. And that raises suspicions, one, about what was going on, but two, should the university have known something if they weren't those visits weren't being billed?
Sir, my understanding of policy and protocol, which is proven to be incorrect as we've tried to unravel this issue more, is that people who went to the clinic were billed. I do not know if there were special arrangements made for certain people, nor given Jordan Weaver's comment at the hearing that there was a back doorway into the clinic.
Okay.
Those are questions that I think have to be looked at.
Thank you.